on election tools. Just a few days left until the election, and 60 million people have already voted. So it's never too late to learn some new tools for covering the elections. So I am part of the Google News Initiative. The Google News Lab is part of this umbrella organization that was created to help journalists. And it has 3 parts. I am one of the journalists who's working with journalists all around the world to help them find our tools and find ways to do their job even better, more quickly, more efficiently. There's a business team that works with publishers to help them drive subscription, explore revenue streams, and even more advertising. And the third pillar is the innovation team, which provides grants for technological innovation. And then there are engineers who work with journalists to design tools for journalists. And we've just launched this microsite called Google Journalist Studio, which is a bunch of tools designed just for journalists to help you do your work more quickly, creatively, and securely. Just last week, we launched Pinpoint, which is a wonderful tool. It's an AI-based tool to help you sort through thousands of documents instantly and even upload audio files and have them transcribed. It is life-changing, especially for investigative journalists. So I encourage you to check that out on the Journalist Studio microsite. There's also the Common Knowledge Project, and it helps you build your own maps and charts from publicly available data like CDC data or census data, which is incredibly rich and useful. And all of these charts you can make are embeddable and shareable, all free. We also have a news training website to look at tools like I'm talking about today. You can go to this news training website and go even deeper at your own pace through little bite-sized lessons that are just 5 or 10 minutes at a time. So check out g.co/news training. And it also has all the links to the tools. If you go there, it has most of the things that I'm talking about today, so you don't have to take special notes. But check that out. You'll find a whole wealth of things there to help your reporting. But today you're here because you want to see what kind of tools we have for elections. And if you have questions afterwards, you can, if you have questions during, you can pop them in the chat box and we'll try to get to them. And you can email me as well at mfarley@google.com. Set up training for your news group. If you want to go a little bit deeper into any of these tools, we're happy to set some group trainings up over Google Meet. So, to protect your election, this is a really, really salient issue right now. There's lots of misinformation swirling around. There are hacking attempts, there's phishing attempts. Journalists have become targets. And so Google has developed several tools to help newsrooms protect themselves if you're feeling that you have vulnerabilities, or maybe don't even know yet. So one place to check out is the Advanced Protection Program. And it has different tools to protect newsrooms and journalists from malware, from phishing, and from hacking. We can set your newsroom up with Titan keys with its physical 2-factor verification. You plug the keys into your USB drive. Even if someone has your password, they can't hack into your account unless you physically touch the key. Another fun thing to look at to see how much you know or don't know about phishing is this quiz, g.co/phishing quiz. And most people fail it the first time, but then you learn what to look out for. And targeting journalists and hacking journalists has become a thing. The New York Times today on page 2 has a whole section on how their journalists handle hacked materials. And you know, the first line of defense is you and your awareness and your brain. When someone sends you something that may be suspect, you always have to ask yourself, of course, as a journalist, what's the motivation, what's the source, and so on. So that's the first line of defense, but there are these other tools that are also very helpful. And this one, Outline, helps you set up a VPN for your newsroom. You just go to getoutline.org. You can set it up for free on a Linux server, or there's a $5 a month cloud charge. But you can set up your own VPN and then give keys, virtual keys, to the people you want to have access. The other thing to look out for are denial of service attacks. Some websites like the BBC have become targets. That's when a lot of users are just, or bots are clicking on your site so many times in such a short time it crashes the server and it takes you down. So to protect from it, Google has developed something called Project Shield. And it's at g.co/shield, and that helps provide a layer of protection. It detects these DDoS attacks, the denial of server attacks, and shields you from them. Okay, so one lesson that we learned from the last election is that we really need to listen to our communities better and to find out what they are concerned about, not what the politicians want you to be thinking about it. And one way to do this is to send out a Google form or a Google survey. You can embed this on your website, or you can send it out in a newsletter, which a lot of news organizations are doing. And you can ask questions and find out what people are really concerned about or what they really think. You can ask them, have you voted already? How did you vote? Did you have problems voting? And the nice thing about this is that when people respond, it in real time drops the responses into a spreadsheet, and you can play with those numbers, or it makes a visualization like you see the green and yellow there live. And so people can participate and see the results changing in real time on the website. So that's a nice way to engage your audience and make them into participants and really listen to what people are thinking about. Okay, so covering your election. One thing that a lot of news sites are really interested in and find very useful for their communities are voter guides. And so Google has created a whole website, elections.google, providing all sorts of services to help you engage voters, to talk about the elections, even to help campaigns put out their information in a safe and useful way. One thing that Google Search has done is try to elevate authoritative information. When people are searching for anything about voting or elections, it directs them automatically to the Secretary of State website or some authoritative source. That's in order to elevate the most authoritative content to the top of the search. Another thing that is available is the voter information tool. This is a nonpartisan project just to help people get information about where and how to vote. It's an embeddable tool. You can just copy the source code from the website and put it on your website and customize it with your own colors and logo and local information. And it even shows early voting sites, how to get there from your voter address, and it connects to voter resources in your state. So most authoritative and accurate sources. And look, you can even make a driving map. And you just go to votinginfoproject.org, and that's the address if you have questions. One thing that people also might want to include in their voter guide is what to do if you have trouble at the polling place. And so a voting protection hotline, and that can help provide legal help at the polls. Very useful to know. When you're covering candidates or covering issues, there are lots of different ways to introduce them, but one is a Flourish template that provides what I like to call trading cards or playing cards of different candidates or different issues. And I will get to that in our data visualization section. But in terms of covering anything, pandemic, politics, protests, it's good to know how to get the right kind of search information from your search as quickly as possible. So we have some advanced search tools. And just so you know, we've been over this in depth in other lessons, but you can refine your search terms by adding refinements, like taking out a search term that might interfere with your results. If you want to refine your results, you're looking for the speed of a Jaguar car and not the cat, you can put a minus sign in front of the cat. You can search certain sites or even certain domains. Every country has its own domain. You can search file types if you're a data journalist and you're just looking for spreadsheets and CSV files. You can do file type : .xls. But don't worry, you don't have to remember all of these little things because we have a cheat sheet on the Google search page. If you go down to the settings and click on that, and a pop-up menu will pop up, and look at advanced search, and it will take you through to a template. You can fill out the questions, the template that will help you refine your search by date, by time, by subject, by domain, or you can find the suggestions how to do it in the search box like I was just showing you. The other thing to do that really helps with your beat or the issue that you're covering is to set up an alert. And so you can use all those search refinements I just showed you to make your alert topic very, very specific, or you just put in a topic like vote by mail, for example. And you can decide whether you want to get a digest of all the relevant stories once a day, as they happen, once a week, in whatever language and covering whatever countries you think are most relevant. And it'll come as an email to your inbox every day. So it's nice to just wake up and find that customized newsletter about your beat or your interests just for you. So that's google.com/alerts. So one of the most interesting tools, I think, about that we have for covering elections, but anything, is Google Trends. And that lets you know what the world's searching for, or even your city and zip code. And there is a special section of Google Trends devoted to the elections. And so it shows all sorts of things. And all of these elements on the trends.google.com website are free to embed, to share, and to play with. So if you like any of these things, just go there right now. You go to trends.google.com. This is what you'll see. And if you scroll down, there's a whole curated story about coronavirus, the elections, how to visualize the Google data, and so on. So if you go into the elections, you'll get this election page. And you can see real time what people are searching for in every state. And you can see which state is searching the most. So no surprise, people in Washington, D.C. are most concerned out of every place in the country about the elections right now. And you can see what the most highly searched political topics are. You can do it in the past 7 days, and these are even animated. And so you can click here. If you think this is an interesting graph, one of the interesting graphs, you can click here and get the embed code. And you just copy that and put it in your HTML. You can see what it looks like on desktop, on mobile. It will update live if this box is checked, but if you want just a snapshot of that day, uncheck it, and you'll get just that static moment. These searches are great because you can define them by time. And if you go all the way back to big issues since 2004, you can look and see that concern about unemployment is the highest of all time. And if you go up and look at the searched top issues, you can see that unemployment is consistently the top searched issue nationally. So no matter what the politicians want you to talk about or think about, you can look and search on Google Trends and to see what everybody is actually really concerned about. You can just explore this. It's got all sorts of interesting and updated things that are ready for you. But if you want to create your own searches, you can do that as well. So you go here to this little hamburger menu and go to Explore. And it will bring you to this Explore page where you can compare up to 5 search terms. So I've already done a couple just to show you. So this is one of the contested races in Arizona, Senate race in Arizona. And you can see how people are searching for each candidate. And you can add up to 5. There's a widely contested race. You can add up to 5 search terms here. And the important thing to know is that these are not absolute numbers, but the spikes represent spikes in interest, spikes, acceleration in search. And the other important thing to remember is that search interest is not a proxy for polls. It's only gauging people's concerns or curiosity about a certain subject. So here's Mark Kelly, the Democrat in Arizona. And just because he is being searched more than Martha McSally doesn't mean that more people are going to vote for him. In fact, if you break it down and you go down, you can see what the related queries are. What are people searching for in relation to Mark Kelly? And it turns out there was a fake news story, a false report of him posing as Hitler in his yearbook, high school or college yearbook. And that's been debunked, but you can see that there were a lot of searches around it. So just because you're being searched a lot doesn't mean that you're winning. It just means that people are curious about you. And what are people searching about Mark McSally? Turns out that Buzz Aldrin, who is a fellow astronaut with Mark Kelly, decided to endorse Martha McSally. So people are searching about that. So it's a nice insight to see what people are searching about, where, and what are the related queries. So it can spark a lot of interesting news stories. You can also see here is the Iowa race, which is very, very close, and you can see how close it is. And if you wanted to show this on your website, there again is the embed code. Right there, you just cut and paste it. You can share this actual graph on social media. Just click that share button. You can share it on any social media. And it's a nice way to drive people into a story. You can show this visualized graph and people will see it on Twitter or whatever, and then you click through and see your story. So the other thing you can see on Google Trends are trending searches in real time. So you can see what people are searching the most in the past 24 hours. A lot of sports, always a lot of sports. And you can see what news stories are doing a lot of searches or related to searches. And you can see whether the trend is peaking and has already peaked, still going up, so maybe that's worth investigating, or it's already peaked and come down, like this one about the Indian national cricket team. So real-time search is a really helpful and interesting tool to gain insights. Okay. So as we were saying, people will ask their search engines all sorts of questions that they'd never even asked their best friend or maybe even their doctor. People ask Google everything. I'm 40 and broke and so on. The important thing to know is that none of these searches are personally identifiable, but they're mapping trends in the aggregate. This was just launched. This is a Google Trends collaboration with Electionland at ProPublica, and it shows search interest by issue across the country day by day. You can see on the bottom how those search interests are stacking up. And you can find that at propublica.org/electionland. It's a new collaboration with Google Trends and ProPublica. And that visualization is also embeddable and shareable for free. If you have any questions about the trends, you can contact newslabtrends@google.com, and they are responsive and happy to help. Okay, let's talk about visualizing election results. So you can sort of do the horse race. Then we're trying to get away from horse race coverage, but you know, the day-by-day who's ahead in the polls, using Google Trends data and Flourish. But here is a really easy visualization that you can do with Data GIF Maker. And it's just to make an instant GIF that you can share on social media. Again, it's animated, it's colorful, it's a nice pop of information. You can tell a story very quickly with just this graph and catch people's attention, and then they can click through to find a deeper story if that's how you want to play it. The site is Data GIF Maker with google.com. And you go here and you can just, all you have to do is input your value, whatever it is, whether you have more cats or dogs, Republicans or Democrats. Isn't that 100? There we go. Title it, you can show it by value percentage. It animates, and then you just can save it as a GIF and put it on your social media. And there are several different types of themes, the racing bar, the rectangle, and the lollipop trees, I call them. So they're great for visualizing polls or results. And since we're going to be covering the results, maybe for days, maybe for weeks until the votes are counted, this is a nice way to just sort of see what is happening. All right, let me introduce you to Flourish Studio. Flourish.studio is a great site for data visualizations. And if you're a journalist, you can also get a newsroom account by going to flourish.studio/newsroom. What it is a bunch of templates that you can use without coding to create really beautiful, elegant, and sometimes interactive data visualizations. And they have templates to help you visualize elections data, how to make those playing cards that we were talking about, and also simple photo sliders. This is just an example of the 2012 election versus the 2016 election, a before and after effect of showing how the counties flipped from one election to the other. You could use this for wildfires before and after, the Beirut bombing, even plastic surgery before and after. For election results, you can also use those data GIF makers. But a special tool is linking live updates from a Google Sheet to a Flourish visualization. So here's an example where you could do it with coronavirus data. I didn't have any live data from Secretary of State sites, for example, to show you how it would do an election update. But for coronavirus, if you can get the CSV from a website, you can link it to a Google Sheet, or you can link it directly to Flourish, and it will update live. And if you would like to learn how to do that, go ahead and email me at mfarley@google.com. We set up a training for your newsroom. Just dive right into that. But Flourish has lots of interesting templates for you to play with, and we can also set up a data visualization training for you. Showing maps, there's the slider again. Here's another way to visualize results. Here's a visualization of Congress, and you can sort this by any category. Who has more men and which party has more women in it, for example, in Congress? What is the racial makeup of Congress, and so on? Whatever you have in your spreadsheet is what people can sort by. And the other nice thing about this is people love to draw their own conclusions rather than being told what to believe or what the final result is. If they can play with the data and sort it themselves, it's much more interesting, and it helps build trust, which is a big issue for all institutions now, but even the media. So you don't have to tell them, they can draw their own conclusions, and they'll spend a lot of time on your site, which is always a good thing. So I'm not showing you only Google resources today. There's lots of other places that have wonderful tools for covering the elections. Here's the Electionland one again from publica.org. They've got that trends visualization there that you can embed and share, and all sorts of other tools. It's worth checking out. Also, First Draft. You've probably heard of First Draft, firstdraftnews.org. They are kind of the standard bearers of how to detect and defend against misinformation and disinformation. And they have a wonderful dashboard with all sorts of tools related to the election. And they have a countdown to the inauguration now, not to the election. But there's all sorts of monitoring that they have real time of tweets, of the most widely circulated bits of misinformation and what they found about them and so on. So that's worth checking out as well. And here's a tool that the Wall Street Journal just made available to everyone called Talk 2020. And it also uses AI to search masses of transcripts that they have gathered. So you can just put in an issue or a live natural language question, like what does a certain candidate say about LGBTQ issues? And you put it in the search box and it will bring up transcripts so you can see in context what each candidate has said about that certain issue. And you can filter it by time and candidate and date and so on. So those are a few tips and tricks to help you cover the elections more securely, efficiently, and creatively. So this video will stay here on YouTube for you to go back and watch and get ideas from. You can capture the links. If you have any questions, or if you want to set up a training for your news group, go ahead and write us at newslabsupport@google.com. You can email me at mfarley@google.com. And we'll be having another live training in 2 weeks, same time on YouTube, about Google Earth and how to use that. So hope to see you again soon. If you have any more questions, or you want to look at some of those tools, you can always go to the news training website, g.co/news training. All right. So thanks very much for taking the time to join us today. Come back and look again, tell your friends about the next one, and have a safe, happy, and secure election season. Thanks.